Mac, in the cinema that we just absorbed into our souls, big, beautiful tapestry on the screen.
Yeah, right.
You saw that Ryan Gosling was the only man for a job, the only person who could save the world. I would like to ask you this. When facing imminent doom, what is one skill that you have where you could help save this planet?
Thought long and hard about this, Gil.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to add that I think Ryan Gosling had a couple of skills to help save humanity, having all that science.
Big ball of skill. It was a big ball of skill.
But I think that I am a good problem solver. I think that the job that I have uses a lot of problem solving. I think I've always been good at problem solving, which has led to me being decent at my job. That's, I think, one of the better skills to have in general, regardless of your background, whether it be math science or more blue collar. You know what I mean? Like, if you can solve problems thinking outside of the box, I think that can go a long way. Showing a little ingenuity, I think, helps. And ultimately, like, I'm not sure if I have a more like definable skill. Like, I know I'm like decent at a lot of stuff, but I think ultimately, like, my one true skill is problem solving. And I think that actually would help with imminent doom or in, a Fallout situation. I think I'd be okay due to that.
So you're saying, one second, you're saying if this was NBA Jams and it had like your highlight, like what your skill set is, problem solving would be at like a 9.
Yeah.
But then speed would be a 3.
Yeah, right. And I think I've like, for example, you were in the same Madden league for me as years. What was I good at? Figuring out what someone did and stopping them, I'm just good at that sort of line of thinking. I always have been.
As if you used to let me score in my first drive and then say, that's all you're getting. You only have 5 plays. You showed them to me.
Problem solving. That's what I'm good at. Goo.
Yeah.
If the world was facing imminent doom, what is one skill that you have that could help save the planet?
The most important skill of all. You can give me 3 hours of spoken word audio and say, shit out 20 minutes. Give me the best package possible, and I can give it back to you.
Editing. Editing is your skill.
Not specifically editing audio. Don't give me video.
Right. So you would be really useful to some corrupt presidents over the last 100 years.
Give me the best propaganda you can give me. Cut out all the bad stuff. Massage coming in and out of sentences. Make it sound as natural as possible. Yeah, I can do that.
You would have been sick in
what
like
sucks,
1987.
Though, like right now, what's bad for me? AI can do that. On the site that we're using, there's an option that says clean up audio, and it'll take all the ums, ahs, and likes out of there.
Which is half your job.
That's half my goddamn job. These robots are taking my job. So I guess ask me again.
Goo.
Yeah.
If the world was facing imminent doom, what is one skill that you have that can help save the planet?
I can make a fine chicken parmesan.
All right. There you go.
You've seen my chicken parms. I can hammer them real thin.
Yeah.
Bigger than your plate. Put enough cheese on there to make you cum.
And that's a nice skill because you could just, the person that will be providing or solving issues or providing domicile to you in the imminent doom situation, you'll just cook for them.
Let's see a robot make a nice chicken parm. Go ahead, AI, get in my face and do that.
One, goo, 3, yeah! Goo. Jaws 3. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Goo. Entertainment.
I'm Goo.
And I'm Mac.
And we are the Mac and Goo program. We bring you, are you the astronaut or are you the rock?
I thought about this, Goo.
Yeah.
I think with my multitude of experience with breathing apparatus, I would be the astronaut and you would be the rock.
Also, with the rock, it needs help translating how it speaks, whereas sometimes you need to like, hey, Goo, tighten this up a little bit.
Yeah,
Tighten
all
up
right.
your thoughts.
There you go. So I am what's his name? Rylan Grace.
You're Grace, and I am Rocky.
You're Rocky, yeah.
Adrian!
Today
Not
we are
about
discussing
how hard you get it. It's about how hard you get it. It is about how hard you get it, but also get back up. I got it. Don't worry.
Today we're discussing Project Hail Mary. This hit theaters on March 20th. Goo was able to catch the early screening. I was not. And then I was in Ireland when it came out. So here we are talking about it just a little bit after the fact, about 10 days after release.
But also now we know it's a smash sensation. So perfect time to jump on.
And speaking of that, this just crossed $300 million worldwide off of a $200 million budget. There was a lot of marketing. It's probably going to get to $500 million to break even. It's going to get there pretty easily. This is already at 164 domestic. It had an $80 million opening weekend. It keeps beating all the expectations, and all the reviews are very, very
word
positive.
of mouth as well. I have people, this is the movie that more than almost any other, where normal people, not cinema-going people, are going up to people and like, hey, have you seen Project Hail Mary?
Yeah, and I think what's helping it a lot here is the core of this story is a really sweet and kind-hearted relationship and story that I think you don't get all that often in movies.
I also
these days.
believe that many people who have grown cynical of the movie-going experience when it comes to IPs, when it comes to like what's being pushed upon them with Hollywood and whatnot, this is one that everyone can get behind because almost the little engine that could.
Yep. And it's accessible. There are some themes here that everyone can relate to. It's PG-13, so you're playing to the masses.
It was a book. Did you know that?
It was a book written by Andy Weir, which I'll get to in a couple minutes. Project Hail Mary, once again, PG-13, drama, sci-fi, and thriller. Other themes, subgenres here: dark comedy, epic, sci-fi epic, space sci-fi. So if you like heartwarming stories, if you like science fiction, this is a really perfect intersection of that.
If you like friendship.
Yeah. Yep. If you like this podcast, you're probably going to like this movie. One minor detriment, I'd say, Goo. The runtime of this movie is 156 minutes.
It's long. It is long.
And there's a point or two here where you're like, all right, this feels
you can't
long.
skim over the source material.
But Goo, credit to the folks. They said, long? Maybe I want more. Roddy T's 95% from the critics, 96% from the audience.
I need it to drop two more. Just to hurt Davey.
Everyone else is liking it. Metacritic of 77, so one of the better scores we've seen so far this year. This is directed, Goo, by two of our favorites, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. We would know them from Clone High, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
That's how I personally know them. When they brought Abraham Lincoln, JFK, Gandhi, Cleopatra. Will Forte was Abraham Lincoln.
Yep. They also directed 21 and 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, and have produced a bunch of stuff over the last decade.
Yes.
They have two upcoming projects that, of course, we'll be interested in. One is called Last Human, which there's not a lot known about. The other is called Artemis, Goo. Artemis is going to be an adaptation of the novel by Andy Weir. So a little peek behind the curtain.
Another guy. Yeah.
Andy
one
Weir,
from this guy,
who was the novelist for Project Hail Mary, also wrote The Martian. That was also wildly successful movie that came out about a decade ago.
2010, right?
I think it was like 2016.
All right, shut up. 2014. Let's split the difference. What I like about it is that they're going back to the well with this author, almost like is it Michael Crichton, who Jurassic Park, Westworld, really pick apart his sci-fi ideas. What I did not like about what I've heard since the release of this movie is him talking about, well, I've thought about doing a sequel. The point of, I think, why a lot of people like this movie is it's off on its own. It's its own thing. We're not starting a trilogy. We're not starting a franchise. It's a get in, get out, enjoy the movie.
You say that, and my instant reaction was like,
that's because you're IP boy. You're IP boy.
That movie felt an awful lot like The Martian. So it's like, yes, it's not attached to The Martian, but it's in the same vein.
We can share ideas.
Every one of these sequel.
Every one of these podcasts is not a sequel to the previous one.
No,
they just sound the same.
I know. It's just we're in these, problem-solving, kind-hearted sci-fi operation that apparently Andy Weir has.
So what you're saying is that we should have called The Martian problem-solving, kind-hearted gentleman, and this should have been problem-solving gentleman 2.
2, yeah.
There we go. TOO, though.
So if you liked The Martian, which I did quite a bit, if you like this, which, spoiler alert, we did quite a bit, we're probably going to be looking forward to Artemis. Little synopsis of Artemis Goo. Jazz is a porter and part-time smuggler in the lunar city of Artemis. Trying to make a little extra money, she accepts a less than legal job, but ends up involved in a much bigger crime. It takes place in 2080, and Artemis is the first and only city on the moon. So
I thought,
the sci-fi.
Until you said she, I thought it was going to be Ryan Gosling again, because he also saved Jazz in that movie with Emma Stone.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Goo, the movie script, the adaptation of the novel into the movie.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Was done by Drew Goddard, who we know very well as well. Buffy, Angel, Cloverfield, Lost, Cabin in the Woods, World War Z, The Martian, Bad Times at the El Royale, and Daredevil. So you have a lot of experience, a lot of Hollywood experience here that obviously, I think, so Goo and I obviously haven't read the book, for those of you at
Never
home.
gonna. There's a movie now.
What I'm gathering from the internet is they took the source material, Andy Weir's novel, and punched up the better movie aspects of it, in that the relationship between Ryland Grace and Rocky, whereas the book is heavy on the science and heavy on the
setup. And this movie still is heavy on that stuff, but this movie leans more into the friendship.
Yeah, and also apparently it takes a really long time in the book to get to the Rocky stuff. It's a lot of setup. So obviously I think they did a good job adapting this. Synopsis of Project Hail Mary. A science teacher wakes up alone on a spaceship. As his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing Earth's sun, and that an unexpected friendship may be the key. This movie stars, there are a few bit actors here, but all we really need to know is Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace, Sandra Hüller as Eva Stratt, James Ortiz voices Rocky. You have a number of other people you've seen before that are in smaller roles, but that's really what
also,
this cast is.
Big reason why Rocky plays so well in this is the practical effects that go into the puppetry that is Rocky. And a lot of people have pointed out as well, a lack of CGI specifically in the space shuttle. Yeah. That really does play up hey, he's actually here.
Yeah, in this movie, has a lot of what makes The Martian good, and then throw in a little bit of Interstellar with a dash of Arrival and Passengers. It has a little bit of all of that stuff. And so, I mean, when we're talking about the scores here, 95, 96%, obviously people love it. The critic one is interesting, a 77 on Metacritic. The Martian got an 80. Interstellar has a 74. Arrival has 81. I think it's an interesting conversation to discuss these four movies together, because they do a lot of the same things and question a lot of the same things.
Because I think these movies do a very good job of questioning, what do you do in what feels like a very real situation?
Yeah, and The Martian and this movie are a bit more lighthearted than Interstellar and Arrival, but they all are touching on this humanity
also,
sort of thing.
Yes, it is lighthearted, but as we put the pieces together, by the way, I really like the story structure in this. At first, I didn't care for it. I'm like, oh, we're starting like this. But then as we peeled back the pieces, I do like the point in which we get the reveal of, okay, this is good. And then, and we'll get into this in spoilers, I do like the lesson learned.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to think about, too, those three movies I just discussed, The Martian, Interstellar, and Arrival, have a very different conclusion than this movie does. And I think you and I both agree here, things get tied up too neatly.
Once again, in spoilers, we'll talk about
But
that.
It's also a little bit of a swerve. You're like, okay. So,
it's different, but...
Yeah.
Shall we do the gauntlet here?
Let's do it.
Fun factor, friendship.
Friendship is fun, and I have to admit, the first 8 seconds that I saw Rocky on screen, I was like, I don't know if I like that. And each minute that passed, I liked it more.
Are you saying that you judged the book by its cover?
I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was bizarre. And then by the end, I loved everything they did with Rocky.
Did you find the science fun?
So there wasn't that much science, which I could have used a little bit more, but I also realized it's not really that important. We know he's going to fucking figure it out, so just get to the figuring it out part.
Satisfactor. I was getting really satisfied, and then they pulled one more step, and it took away a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. They're in one respect, it's pretty satisfying to see that this relationship is ultimately like what holds together. But I also think it was like just simply too neat for everything that was going on.
Barometer? Sure.
A little bit. It's long. There are some necessary things that have to be done to tell this story. It just felt like it was a smidge long.
Is it to the point where if you're recommending it to somebody, you are going to mention the length?
Yeah, because it felt like 3 hours, and it was a little over 2.5, but it felt long. And about 2 hours in, I checked my phone, and I was like, oh, we still got a little bit of time left here.
Sounds like me back when I was on Tinder. I was recommending I was like, be careful of the length. Not that great. What do we do next? Halloween. Will this movie wane over time? I think it absolutely will. I mean, most movies that get this type of hype out of the gate do hit a bit of a wane, a bit of a fatigue after a while.
Yeah, this will be interesting because I don't really have any desire to rewatch the movie currently.
Yeah.
But I have found that over the last decade, The Martian is pretty rewatchable. I enjoy the shit out of The Martian. And so I'm wondering if the core relationship of this movie is going to make it rewatchable.
But I also think The Martian has more... I like the conversation in The Martian more than what we got in this.
That's fair. That's fair.
I wish we wrote down our things. / we've done 800 episodes. I don't know what we do in our nonagon. Plemonade. Who made Plemonade? Jesse Plemons is the man, and we need to think of someone else that now does this in movies. I guess because you can't even go Sandra Hüller because she's in
Hüller.
No, I think she's in too much of the movie. I'm going to say the agent that is working with Gosling, especially at the beginning, to figure out some of these these fun ways to solve the situation.
Yeah, you're right. He was good. I'm going to go Hüller because she was cast perfectly. She was unknown to American audiences as of 3 years ago. I think she clearly gets cast because of the two great movies that she was in a couple years ago. And she crushes the role here where it's like a quiet...
It's very stoic.
Stoic, but also kind of mean, but in the nicest possible way. I think she's fantastic in the role that she plays here. The role that she plays a little bit here reminded me a lot of Jessica Chastain in Zero Dark 30, where she's like, she just is great at her job. So I got a little bit of those vibes here. I'll give it to Hüller.
Why don't you give Hüller Max Credit Union then?
Well, Max Credit Union is clearly going to go to the Goss.
The Goss?
Yeah.
I would say Lord and Miller because they just crush this stuff, man.
Yeah, but this is a movie about a guy acting by himself for nearly 2.5 hours. So Gosling and like 2 or 3 other people could make this movie work, so that's why I think
Chris Pratt. Mac wanted Chris Pratt, though. That's what he was saying the whole time. Chris Pratt would have taken a completely different direction.
Fun factor, Satisfactor, Barometer, Halloween, Aquaterworld. This is quite.
It's better than Waterworld. Yep.
Pants Tent City Goo. There were a couple amazing shots in this movie, like cinematography wise, really cool fucking shots. The problem that they need to solve here, I thought was pretty cool too. And like the plan they come up with in the two working together and them figuring out how to even speak to each other. Like that's pretty cool too. So there's a lot of cool and fun stuff.
There's a lot of cool, fun stuff. And I think like the highlight of the movie for me was almost undone by what we got in the finale. Like I really liked a decision in this movie, but nothing really comes of it.
Yeah.
What else do we have? You had your phone out.
Yeah, I'd put it away now. I think we do dog scores now.
All right, for those of you tardy to the Mac and Goo party, we rate everything on a 40 hot dog rating system. Mac, let me ask you this. Why did you let me eat 6 hot dogs on Saturday? What the fuck? Okay,
I think you ate like 3.
Okay, I ate too many hot dogs on Saturday.
They were big, beefy ones.
Big, beefy, and one of them was filled with cheese.
Yeah,
so we were at Shime's bachelor party.
Yeah.
And what was it, like 2 a.m?
It was like 12:30.
I have no concept of time right now. and someone made a big plate of hot dogs.
Yeah, big
and it
old
was
plate of
almost like a
hot dogs.
challenge to suck down as many as you can. But someone should have said to me after one, what are you doing? Because in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, I start hurling all over the fucking place. I'm throwing up everywhere. And I'm only accounting for half of the stuff that I'm throwing up. And I'm like, where did all this shit come from? And the next day, Doc is like, yeah, you had 4 hot dogs last night. I'm like, what? When did that happen?
I think when you got to the third, you were doing it strictly for the reaction. The first one we all needed. The second one was like, yeah, you could do a second one. And the third one, I think you were just going for laughs.
Were people laughing?
People were laughing / concerned.
All right. All right. Well, I guess it was worth it. I guess my terrible Sunday was worth it. All right, Mac, I think the big question that I came away from this movie with was, so first off, I did enjoy it. I thought it looked beautiful. Gosling was awesome. I liked the puppet. I loved the story structure of it. But I did question how much of it did I find entertaining versus interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought almost the entire thing was at least interesting. But how much was I actually entertained by this movie? How much of a rewatchability does it have? How much am I, personally, I'm not just like as a moviegoer, I am telling people go and check out this movie, but it's not a goo recommendation.
Yeah. Okay. So you're recognizing that it's really good, but you're saying you didn't really come close to loving the movie.
Right, and I'm going into the next couple months being like, I'm hoping that I'm blown away by other movies, as opposed to, like, I'm not wanting this to be my favorite movie of the year.
Got you. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
34 hot dogs.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're not wrong in your mixed feelings about the movie. I think the audience score makes a lot of sense. This is a movie that's going to be hard not to like.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you, trying to parcel out if I really did love this movie or if it's just been the best movie of the year so far and I haven't seen much else to compare against it, and we're a sucker for a buddy cop friendship story with a kind-hearted tone.
Like, you're sitting back going like, Gosling's good, but it'd be better if it was Ben Affleck and Matt Damon as cops.
I just think, when it comes to like sci-fi epics, I want a little more questioning or conversation post-movie about whether like someone made the right decision or not. And there's a little bit of that in here, but like in Interstellar, for example, you're left wondering, there's a family dynamic there and there's sacrifices made. In
Yes.
Arrival, the reveal is super intriguing. I would argue kind of unravels a bit of the movie, but the conversation to be had surrounding Arrival is very interesting. The Martian's pretty more straightforward, and it makes sense because the writer of the novels wrote this and Project Hail Mary. But the difference between The Martian and this is there was a legitimate question there at the end, like what can and should be done, and you're kind of rooting for the character to do one thing, and you're rooting for an outcome. And I think it takes the real easy path there. I think a better decision would have been some sort of sacrifice there. And it feels like because of the ending that there was no real sacrifice to be made.
Once again, we'll talk
right?
about the ending. We'll dive a little bit deeper, specifically into the ending.
The stakes just felt a little lower than maybe they should have been since humanity was on the line. But because Ryland Grace has no tether to Earth, it makes his decision super easy, it feels like, even though that's not necessarily what I was rooting for. So I'm having a hard time with that. The length is a little bit of an issue. I think I have it at 36 hot dogs, maybe 35. I'm in that range. It's a borderline great movie. That 36 always is what I feel like pumps it up to great. But to me, I never really felt like this was pushing 40 hot dogs. It's just a really enjoyable movie. That I would recommend to a lot of people because I think a lot of people can connect with this and enjoy it. However, I don't think it's going to be remotely close to the best movie of the year when all's said and done.
Shall we get the spoilers?
Let's do it. Spoilers.
I loved the reveal that they lost a bunch of their troop before the send-off, and they're like, there's only one person that can do this. And I loved the conversation that she had with him about, you don't have anything here, So you really are the perfect person to send, when in fact, the perfect person to send is someone that does have something on the line.
Yeah.
And then once he does have that special, loving someone that he feels this for, that he feels, like I need to sacrifice myself to help, my friend and their planet. And I was like, I really like this. And I love that he has recognized this is the time when I need to sacrifice. But then for him to go to that planet and be a part of that planet, and like you said, he has no tether to Earth anyways. Baby with the bathwater.
Yeah, too neat, honestly. And I had a similar feeling at the end of this movie as I did with Marty Supreme, where I'm like, it's just a little too neat for what that movie was. Like, it should have been a little messy. It should have been a little more higher stakes. And I'm left thinking about Interstellar and Arrival, because this movie, quality-wise, is very good. But in Interstellar, emotionally, you're so torn because he has this tether to the world that he needs. And you're like, I don't know if I could ever make that decision. In this movie, you're like, well, yeah, I can make that decision. And Arrival, sort of a similar thing. Like, I don't know if I could do what they're doing because of all the stakes. In this, Ryland Grace is wronged by everyone on the planet, gets kidnapped and sent into space. You're like, fuck that planet. You don't have anyone to get back to, And ultimately, he does save the planet. We see the little, sort of flash forward that they receive all his messages. So presumably, you think he saves humanity. And then he also saves Rocky and also saves Rocky's planet, which I think is great. I love that decision that he turned back to go save Rocky. But I think it would have hit harder, and I think would make a better story if he sacrificed himself for Rocky and Rocky's planet.
Once again,
and wasn't found living a fun life at the end of the movie.
Learning, he had finally realized what sacrifice was.
Yes. Yeah. And what I do really love about this movie, all that said, is Ryland Grace, no tether on Earth, has never made a relationship on Earth that has made him feel whole or wholesome. And this love that he finds with Rocky, a fucking spider rock crab from a distant planet.
A lot of words.
I really love that aspect. I love when movies do stuff like that. And Rocky is so great. The way that Rocky's written in this movie, and the voice actor was great, James Ortiz. Everything about Rocky was great, and I doubted it from the jump. And so I really enjoyed all of that. It just felt like, because of what is on the line, and it's two beings, two beings in space, how they both end up surviving, I think it was just like, okay, we're just doing this to make people feel good. But it doesn't really make sense.
Let me ask you this. Would you sacrifice yourself to save the Earth?
So that's a good question to ask. If I'm in Ryland Grace's shoes, I have nothing on Earth to live for, but I also have no real reason to save the planet either. Which is, I get what I'm getting at here. In Interstellar, a legitimate question that raises, that's a real conversation. Arrival's a little bit different, but that's the emotional battle I want to deal with when it comes to these movies, what Arrival and Interstellar give us. The Martian is a little more lighthearted, like this movie, and there's no
It did win for best comedy,
there's no real conundrum in The Martian. It's just a little bit of a fun problem-solving movie with some humor. I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time because it felt like this could have been truly great, and it just feels like a really good movie, and that's fine for 99% of people. But for you and I that are talking about this movie and are comparing it about two all-time great sci-fi movies, especially recent great ones, it's hard saying that this is as good as them. It feels lesser than Interstellar by quite a bit, honestly. And I enjoyed The Martian. I liked Arrival, but some people, obviously to me, Arrival is Denis Villeneuve's worst movie. It's still a really good movie, but I think there's just a lot that unravels. So to me, it's not even close to an all-time discussion, but with the way it's getting rated and the reaction to it, feels like some people are suggesting that.
Do you think that if Rocky said at any point in this movie, "Science, bitch," you would have given it an extra hot dog?
Possibly. And then there's also, obviously, in the movie, Goo, Rocky sacrifices himself to save Ryland Grace. I keep forgetting that fucking movie. Hail Mary full of grace is how you got to remember it.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that's a nice little connection there. And that would have been cool too if Rocky's sacrifice was ultimate, because you love that character, and it like this movie gets you to get to almost teary-eyed.
So what you're
for
saying
a rock
is that
crab.
So what you're saying is that you would have liked if Rocky sacrificed for Grace, but then Grace sacrificed for Rocky's planet.
Something like that. That would have been fucking poetic, and that really would have been like, wow, that's amazing. And yeah, maybe it kills both off, or even Grace survives and ends up on Rocky's planet. But something where something was lost, you know? Yeah, we lost 2 crew members we didn't care about. Rocky lost his 23 crew members we didn't care about. The 2 characters we grew to love, it was set up for someone to sacrifice for the other. And they both do, but not really, because they both end up good. Like, it's a little annoying. It's a little annoying.
Somehow Grace has survived.
Or like if Rocky sacrificed for Grace and Grace does go back home, and then now he has to live this really interesting life at home where he doesn't give a fuck about anyone, and he's constantly thinking about Rocky and Rocky's planet. That's more interesting than what this movie does.
2 questions. Number 1, so you're saying you do not want a sequel to this?
No, what it's just Grace going to be teaching people on the rock planet, or is the sequel Grace goes home?
He has to go home.
I don't know what they're going to do there, but that's at least a little interesting.
Okay, and then my second question, do you think this has legs for anything Academy Awards-wise?
Visual effects, for sure. This will be in the conversation.
It's up against Dune.
Gosling could garner a nom just strictly on the fact that it's just him for 95% of this movie, acting against a rock crab. So that's a possibility. Direction will be interesting because I do think the direction is great in this movie. But it feels to me, partially because it came out so early, it'll be kind of forgotten about by the time we get to
Sinners
awards
came
season.
out around the same time last year.
You're right. And Sinners
So
got a
I think
second
this
life.
will get a Best Picture nom.
But Sinners, it might get a Best Picture nom in the way F1 did.
Right, no, and because this is going to make so much money, I think it'll also recognize it as like, it made a lot of money and it's really good. So it's not like we're tipping our hands to those fat cats over at Marvel.
No. But Sinners is definitely a better movie than this. I think we can both agree on that.
Let's get into Mac-Sack.
And Mac-Sack could be anything. It could be a boat. And Mac, this last Friday, I took in the circus.
Barnum and Bailey?
Barnum and Bailey. I can't say it, by the way.
So are they still doing the 3-ring circus? Is that what they're still doing these days?
I'm pretty sure it is. I have no idea. There are no animals anymore. Whatever.
Okay.
I don't need to see animals do fucking tricks.
Mm-hmm.
I am blown away by what human beings can do.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely, like the amount of balancing, flips, trapeze artistry, the Gumby girl. At first, you're like, that's kind of intriguing, but then you say that's a little gross.
Did your 5-year-old son enjoy it?
Oh my goodness, he loved it. He loved it, but I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. It's the same thing as when I saw Disney on Ice. And it's once again sitting back in your chair and saying, I can't do any of this. And Disney on Ice, I know how to skate. I'm a good skater. All that stuff just blows me away.
I agree. That's a good point. There's something to be said about, I think you and I, we're able to do a lot of stuff athletically. Not necessarily good, but we're capable of doing
I
stuff.
can barely dribble a basketball.
Or even when it comes to climbing, you could do
I'm afraid of heights.
Base level stuff. And then when you see humans achieve things that really shouldn't be possible, it genuinely blows your mind.
And then you have 3 hosts on stage, and you're saying, okay, these people are just the MCs. They're not going to do any of the acrobatics.
Yeah.
One guy gets on the tallest unicycle in the world. It's crazy.
Yeah, right.
He's doing flips on the unicycle and shit.
Yeah, I'd die. I would perish.
That's the whole thing. And yes, I think there's a lot of safety that goes into this. They have harnesses. They have nets. It doesn't really take away from it.
Did it have that oval looking thing with the two guys, and it spins, and they come out of it, and they jump in and out of it.
And they do big jumps, they do flips, and like
That
one guy
shit is crazy.
One guy's a little bit thicker, and he's really landing hard on these things.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's gonna knock it off its fucking sockets.
So I went to a circus type show in the parking lot of the Rentham Outlets in the fall, and it had a lot of this stuff. There was like a story they were telling throughout, but it had a lot of that stuff, and I legit was jaw on the floor for the two guys doing that spinning sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it makes no sense how they're able to time it and then have both the grip strength and upper body strength to like hold on at certain points.
Well, also, so it was at the Agganis Arena, Boston University, and the trapeze artists were swinging up so high to get that little bit of leverage. I'm like, they're going to slam up against the ceiling of this building.
We're going to have a real Robin situation here.
I was telling my son, like, this is how Batman found Robin, and he didn't get it. Like, any of these people here, any of these, they could be orphans soon, and they could be taken in by the ultimate orphan.
Good.
Batman. Yes.
I forgot to ask you this 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
On the year.
Yeah.
With Hail Mary, is it the best movie you've seen this year?
So far, yes, but I haven't seen anything. I have seen the drama, and I think that leaves you with more interesting questions in your head.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a better movie, though.
Okay. And Mario not as good, you're saying?
No,
too.
Mario is not as good of a movie. I will say that Mario, by the end, does give you just enough of that classic late 80s, early 90s Mario vibe that you're like, I'm fandomed. You got me.
Better or worse than the first Mario?
I think it's a little bit better.
Okay.
But once again, there was 2 or 3 scenes where I'm like, this is right up my alley.
Yeah, that makes sense. For me, it's either this or Bone Temple is the best movie of the year so far, but neither should be in the conversation by the end of the year.
Yeah, like, what's the other one that I saw with Sam Rockwell, where I'm like, this is pretty good, but it should have been better.
Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're getting there. I think these next couple months we're going to get some bigger and bigger movies. But until then, go to the circus.
There you go.
Until then, just go and take it in. Whoa, they're going to fall? No, we're all set. I also love there are some people there that you can tell are great at what they do, like acrobatic-wise. But then, like, they have no rhythm. And a part of what they do at the circus is, like, when you're not doing flips, you have to dance. And they're just like...
You know
bopping along.
You know what blows my mind about me as a youngin'? When I was like 9 to 12, I was doing this often. Now, I didn't, like, you grew up, you have the pool at your parents' house.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're jumping off stuff into the pool. I used to set up like one of those plastic chairs and do a backflip off a plastic chair.
You keep on telling me this, and I don't believe you.
And to me, it's crazy that I even attempted it. But back then, it was like, oh, I can do that. And now I'd be like, I would break my neck.
Like, if you ask me right now, what do you think you could add to the circus? I can do somersaults. And I don't think that would really impress anybody.
I used to be able to do a nice crisp round off, too.
Really?
I had a hard time doing cartwheels, though.
All of what you're telling me sounds completely made up.
Well, Jeff Santos was an elite athlete back in 01.
Is this after
then
you saw the
9/11
thong
happened
song?
and it all went down south.
Is it after you saw the thong song and you saw Cisco doing it and you're like, I'm going to do these sweet one-handed cartwheels?
I can't do a cartwell. I always had a hard time with a cartwheel.
Like, maybe, and I don't think I have the balance anymore. I used to be really good at doing handstands. But now I'm going to throw my back out and die. I'm fucking old.
Can you do a one-arm push-up?
Yeah. One-arm push-up, yeah.
I
can do pull-ups.
Okay, all right.
I have decent body control, but I also have fear of heights. So, like, I can't do anything, like, super... Say if I'm pulling myself up, I'm, like, doing, like, the little flip thing or whatever. There was one time we were on vacation, and I was using my grandmother's walker to, like, body control, flip myself into, like, a handstand. And I flipped the thing over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, dear Lord. There's wheels on one side of it. No one told me.
Yeah, small ones, but yeah, there are.
Well, but it's going to tip if you put too much of the weight on one end than the other.
Yeah.
Comment down below. What could you do in the circus?
Do you remember the basketball hoop at the Lowell school at the far end used to only be like 8.5 or 9 feet?
Oh, so like the Boys and Girls Club, how they have like the 7-footers? Yeah.
But I dunked on that once too. But
sick, dude. Sick.
If you need a dunk on an 8.5 or 9 foot hoop, I'm your guy.
I think we went to the trampoline park maybe a couple of years ago. My wife doesn't let us go anymore.
Yeah,
but
that gets dangerous.
It's very fucking dangerous. But if I wasn't told not to go, I'd still go. They have the basketball hoops there,
Best
and
part of it.
I'm so afraid to jump too high and then land awkwardly on my legs.
Well, you got to hang on the rim to let yourself down easy.
I know, but so I was like going up for dunks, but I'd like hesitantly do it. I'd be like, I don't want to go too high.
Also, my hands aren't large enough to palm a basketball consistently, so I have an issue with that. I have to like hit the right angle.
Yeah, but if you jump high enough, you can honeypot it.
Yeah, no, I know.
Vince
And
Carter.
you get the momentum of it too, one of these.
I would have been so bad if I was in slam ball. I'd just be so afraid of constantly hurting
I think
myself.
I would thrive in slam ball.
I'd be
love
so
slam ball.
bad in slam ball.
We used to play 3-on-3 full court mini hoops. That St. Jude school on Main Street in Waltham used to be able to raise and lower them. We'd set it to either 8 or 8.5 and just
Yeah, but that's
like by the end I'd have
that's not
bruises on my
trampolines
forearm.
though.
I'm saying, but it was fun to just yam on people.
Yeah, yamming's fun, but falling awkwardly on your legs is not.
No, I agree. But falling on trampolines is a lot better than falling on hard stuff.
Like I fear injuries so much now at my age of
Totally
just
agree.
like if I get hurt, I'm never gonna recover.
Well, if I get hurt, I can't go to work. At least you can go to work.
You can get disabilities. You can say that you slipped on a soda at the mini mart. All right, where can the people find us?
You can find us at Mac and Goo Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Everywhere else, it's Mac & Goo, Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify, more importantly, Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe. 5 stars. If you do that in an alternate timeline, maybe in the interstellar timeline.
Definitely not.
We'll get you a free Mac and Goo t-shirt for the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. Watertown Sportswear, 34 Auburn Street. WatertownSportswear.com.
tpublic.com merch. Most likely a dump by the end of the week. I don't think Mac is going to be able to catch Mario or the drama, so maybe next week.
I will see one of them either Thursday or Friday, but I think we're going to get a couple of nice trailers this week that'll make dump worth it.
Oh, like Euphoria. We already got that one.
We got that.
We got that one. We just got the one for Javier Bardem as Robert De Niro.
Yep. As in the Apple TV series.
Yes. Cape Fear.
We got the new Masters of the Universe one, but there was another one due today.
Yeah. So we'll get those. Yeah, we'll just do a dump at the end of the week.
Yeah.
All right. Tuesdays or Goose Days. I've used kangaroos. Tam Burton.
Bye.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines.